What's up, Spice Droppers? It's Charlie from Ferndale here. I know I've been gone a while. March was a tough month, but I'm glad it's April now. Let's make some nugs! Alright, so just like frying anything, we're going to need a wet mix and a dry mix. So let's start with this dry mix. First, I got 1 cup of all-purpose flour. You can put this in a Ziploc bag and do kind of like shake and bake thing, but I like to use like a Tupperware container with a lid so that we can put all the catfish in there and then we'll shake it around in there. Come back in with 1 cup of yellow cornmeal, and this is where that crispy crunchiness really comes from. This is the game changer. Now I got a spice mixture here. This is 1.5 teaspoons or half a tablespoon each of pepper, salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika. And to that I'm gonna add 3/4 of a tablespoon of cayenne. That's optional. That's gonna give it a little more heat. We're gonna mix these up, and once that is finally mixed together, don't pour all of this in there. I'd pour about 3/4 of this in because we're going to use some of this in our southern tartar sauce. So there we go. We're going to keep that aside for later. Now just whisk this together, and that's it for the dry. Now let's move on to that wet mixture. Alright, for the wet mixture here, I got 2 eggs. I'm going to throw in some hot sauce, about half of a tablespoon again. I like using Frank's or Tabasco. Any kind of Louisiana style hot sauce with that vinegary flavor will work with this. And I'm throwing some brown mustard in here. Again, I'll do about a tablespoon of that. With that mustard, I like using spicy brown mustard, but you really could use anything. Dijon mustard, yellow mustard, break those egg yolks. And once this is mixed together, we got our 2 stations. We'll start getting that catfish prepped. Alright, so I'm going to take a plate here with some paper towel on it. And I have 1 pound of catfish nuggets here. You could also use fillets and cut them up, or then sell those little catfish steaks. But I'm just going to spread these out for a little bit. Like, see, that's a pretty big piece for a nugget. So we're going to spread these out. I've rinsed them, did all that. There's some gunk in there, take that out. Just kind of double check it all. Then I'll cover that up with this paper towel and just kind of squeeze down to get some of that liquid out of there. They're not very water soluble, but I just like the outside to be really dry when we're coating these with the wet and dry before frying. Alright, well, I didn't realize every single one of these needed it, so I am moving to a cutting board and just do kind of, again, bite-sized little chunks for these nuggets. Alright, so that catfish is cut up. We're going to do this in 2 batches for the frying, so I'm going to show you the first batch and just do the second batch the same exact way. So we're going to take about half of these nuggets, throw them in this. Remember, we got the egg and the hot sauce in here with the mustard. So we got about half the fish in there. Now, just using 1 hand, we're going to just get those nice and really coated well in there. And then we're going to take these, let them drip off a little, and throw them in this dry batter. See, and be careful, because like that one was folded over, so the inside of that did not have a lot of egg wash on it. Alright, so we got all those in there now. Just put that aside. We're going to take this lid on here, pop that on, and we're just going to kind of gently toss this around. At some point, we'll open it back up, and with our dry hand, we'll kind of flip everything in there, making sure that each side of all these nuggets are coated. Put that back on, and same process. And now we're going to take those out with our dry hand. I'm going to set them on this plate for now while I get everything prepped for the frying. So to prepare our oil for frying, I used about 1.5 quarts of oil. Peanut oil. You can use any oil that you use for frying. Don't use olive oil. You want it to be about 2 inches deep, 1.5 inches deep, so that these nuggets can be fully coated by the oil. And again, that's why I'm doing 2 batches instead of 1 big batch too. So we're going to get the catfish ready. We're going to bring that oil, again, 1.5 quarts or so, up to about 350 degrees. Then we can start dropping these in the oil. Alright, we're at about 350 now. It's been about 5 minutes maybe, letting that heat up. I use one of these wire basket things, so I'm just going to put a few of these nuggets on here and then slowly lower those in. And we want to spread those around so that they don't clump up together. And it's going to be about 3 to 5 minutes. I got another plate here with some paper towel on it. We're going to use to rest these. Keep an eye on that temperature. You don't want it to go too high, don't want it to go too low. I'd stay right in that maybe 325 to 350 range is where I'd try to stay. It's been about 4 minutes on these now, and they look fabulous. So I'm going to start transferring these ones over. Look at those. And you can do this with the, you know, a catfish fillet, those catfish steaks. It's all good. If you made a catfish fillet like this with this breading, and that would make a phenomenal sandwich with this tartar sauce we're about to make, this spicy tartar. All right, the catfish nugs are done. We're gonna set those aside to cool while we make this kind of southern style sweet heat tartar sauce. We're gonna start out with half a cup of mayo, and we're gonna take those spices that we had left over from the dry rub and put as much as you want in there. I'm not gonna use all of it. I still have about a teaspoon left over maybe. Now here I also have 1 small shallot on a pretty fine dice. Throw that in. I also have pickles here. Now you could use dill relish, you could use sweet relish. Personally, when I make this stuff, and this is not a paid promotion or anything, but I love to use the Famous Dave's sweet and spicy pickle chips. I think this flavor is just so good in this dipping sauce. So I use those. You can use whatever you want. I'm also not a big dill fan, so I like the flavor of these more than dill pickles. And I like to have those on a little bit rougher chop there so that you really get that flavor and big bites of it. I use probably 5 or 6 of the pickle chips in here. That again is, if you're using pickle relish, maybe about 2 tablespoons. Then we're going to throw some more Frank's Red Hot in here. You don't have to do this. I'm going to do about a tablespoon in there. I would recommend putting maybe like red wine vinegar in there if you didn't do this. And then I'm going to just to kind of get the flavors melding well, put a little bit of that spicy brown mustard in there. So that's everything in there. Again, another super simple recipe or portion of this recipe. We're just going to mix this together and then we can try this stuff. Alright, Spice Droppers, I've honestly been wanting to make this video for like 6 weeks now. I just didn't have the time, didn't have the energy. So I'm honestly so grateful and so thankful to be back. And I missed you all so much. So let's try this. You hear that? It's crispy. ASMR, whatever that is. Give it a nice little dunk in that sauce. Oh man. If you love catfish nuggets, then you know how good this is. If you don't, if you never tried catfish, I'll give it a try. Spice Droppers, we did it again. Oh, yeah baby. Peace and love. I love you.